Mark Scheifele not out there for the morning skate? Is there any update?
He's not in tonight.
Okay, yeah. So from that perspective, you had mentioned the degree of difficulty that's involved in playing without your number one setter, but you'll have to meet that challenge.
That's just a challenge that we've run into all year long. We've run into it in this series without Gabe and Nick. We've done it all year long, and that's just part of our group that know that they have to step up. Next guy has to step up, and whether that's more opportunity, more ice time, take advantage of it, and do what you can.
What is the difference between the 3 games here and the 3 games in St. Louis in your ability to be able to limit the effectiveness of the St. Louis Defense Corps offensively?
Yeah, that's obviously they've become a big part of their offense. So for us it's when we defend quick, when we get into people, we cut off their lanes quick. We make them play out of the corners and down low. Instead of getting the zone and spreading out, I think then we're successful. And I think that when we're fast doing it, it's more of what we are accustomed to, and we just have to make sure that we're doing that. Like you said, we've done it well here. We've done it well in their building at times, early on in Game 4 and early on in Game 6. But it has to be something that's consistent for the 60 minutes.
Tony Nato stay in and Fleury draw in?
Maybe.
Possible.
I gave you Scheif. I'm not giving you
I mean, that was the big one for sure. After Game 1, we talked about almost Super Bowl energy, where you got to manage throughout the day when to get up, when to. So, what have you learned, or what will you take, and how will you try to manage the guys' energy?
Well, I think that guys going through 6 games of this craziness. I mean, it's as loud as it is here. It's loud there, and imagine tonight's going to be just as crazy. And going through the experiences certainly helps. But I also, talk to our guys that have been in Game 7s to spread their knowledge and, talk to the other guys. It was yesterday and even today. If there's, guys have, feelings or thoughts or whatever. And so that was pretty much it. And then just, get out and manage it. It really comes down to you're out there and, you're shift to shift. You just do what you do best and, bring the best version of yourself each and every shift.
Scott, over the course of the year, what have you liked about Lowry's time with Nikolai Ehlers when they've been together?
Yeah, we had to do it obviously with injuries earlier, and there was some chemistry there. So yeah, I'm hoping now there's another game. They're getting I guess it's another game and a half they've been together. So I think that Nick likes he likes when Lau's out there. Obviously, Lau does some heavy lifting and at both ends of the rink, and for me it kind of the matchup it helps a little bit too.
Is Logan Stanley an option for tonight, or what's his status?
We'll wait and see.
Game time?
Yep, thanks.
Given all the belief that this team has built up in itself this year, especially in its team game and the details and all the things that make you guys what you are, give me an idea of what you feel like this team's, the strength of its belief that the sum of its parts are greater than some of the parts that may be missing.
Yeah, well, he talked about all year long. There was different stretches or different games that we went into that were big games. For 82 games, there were big games, and there was playing in Colorado on a back-to-back, or was going in near the end of the year against Dallas to battling for the Central, going into Washington when there was the 2 top teams going head-to-head. There was a lot of games. The Florida game after we got beat by them down in Florida, there was a lot of challenges that we talked about. That these are the type of things that you build off of, because you're going to get in the playoffs and you're going to get in these situations. And trying to learn from them then, so that you can so use some of those experiences now. And I think that we've gotten a lot harder, a lot more battle ready. The compete part in those situations has come out in our game, and that's what has to happen tonight. That's kind of what we've built this through those 82 games, through these 6 games. The lessons learned, both positive and negative. It's what you've got to roll into Game 7 here. Don't focus on the ending. Focus on that sort of next play that's coming for you individually as a player. Focus on that next situation.
Scott, watching Game 7 of Dallas, Colorado last night, I think the commentators mentioned, it was about midway through the game, that it looked like all 36 players on the ice were almost playing just not to make a mistake because the stakes are so high. How do you balance that kind of risk versus safe? Is it more about the game settles into whatever it's going to become?
Yeah, I don't know if that's Game 7. I think that's playoff hockey. It is a chess match. You're kind of, you're trying to wait to expose that one move that creates that scoring chance or creates that situation where you get an opportunity. I was watching it as well. I think that you're just playing your game. You're obviously you're not trying to open it up and to go score a goal because you want to get the lead. You got to do it with how you've done it all year long, and that's pretty much what you saw with Dallas and Colorado last night.